where today we'll be continuing our work with Shimo. Basically doing a bunch of ice charging animations where we're doing a combination of her eyes basically shifting colors, and we'll see if we get some time to actually do, well, the ice creeping animation, which I'm personally really looking forward to. So, if you enjoyed the stream, be sure to smash the like button, comment below what you think, share with your friends, and all that other self-promoting jazz. And I should probably mention before I get too far into the video, all the music in the background is royalty-free, and you'll find the links in the post description below. So yeah, I got a little bit of setting up to do, but not too much, and I also have some good news coming along later in the stream. So we'll just wait for a few more people to tune in before I hand out the good news. Would be the best way to do it. So, first off, we're using the little tripod today, which is kind of a nice break because I've been using the big one a lot lately. Kingzilla, hello, thanks for tuning in. Just doing a little bit of setup today. So right now, just playing with a little bit of plasticine clay on the mini tripod, I do say. So once that's basically down and molded in, we're gonna start doing a few animations with, well, Shimo here, and basically have her eyes close and then blink open, and we'll have them shift to the colors. And then hopefully we get around to maybe setting up and getting ready for the ice creeping animation, which I plan on doing. And then shortly after that, then we're going to do the blast, basically. So there's a lot of things kind of going on all at once. But I was really inspired by that scene in GXK with the ice part when Shimo comes out of her cave. You see all that just ice freezing across, you know, the ground. It just looked way too cool. And I was like, okay, I kind of have to do that. So, yeah. GXK gave me a bit of inspiration on there, I must admit. I'm guessing you quite enjoyed that scene too. I mean, I think it was on one of the trailers as well, so I'll probably do a little bit of camera setup here too, just so you guys can get a slight better look at what, well, I'm actually going to be working on here. Once I'm done playing with my clay, making sure that my tripod's not going to go anywhere. Because that's pretty important, because during this scene, I don't want any camera shake. In the past few ones here, there has been some, but not much. And by that, I basically mean is camera shake is moving the camera just back and forth ever so slightly between taking pictures. So it kind of gives it the appearance that the camera's kind of doing that shutter thing. You're nervous who's gonna win? That well, means I'm doing my job right. I mean, there is a poll there. So far, I see you've probably voted Godzilla. But I'll just put it this way. I do kind of want to make the G-Man struggle a little bit. He's had already a spill. I won't give that away, but there's a moment in time where he's completely collapsed and hits the ground. It actually looks really cool, in my opinion. So it does that, like, smoke animation kind of going around. Like, he had a really heavy impact. Hello, Mr. Mitties. Hey. Where are you going? Come here. You can't meow and get away with it. So, my co-host, Animals are hanging out per usual. Foo's actually down here too. She's just having a nap in the cold room. Hello, Holly. So hopefully there isn't too much jank from the Animals. Yes, hello, Mr. Mitties. You're just gonna talk the whole time now too? Here, if you're gonna talk so much, you may as well come up and be a host. Oh, what? You're camera shy now? Apparently he has nothing to say now. Come on. No? Not gonna speak, Mr. Mitties? I'd pan the camera to you, Miss Holly, but I know you for a fact, yeah. You'll just run away. Got some of goobies, buddy. Here we go. Hey. We'll play with the laser pointer later. But yeah, that's Mr. Mittens. Yep, I know. You're a pest. So yeah, back to it. Oh no. But yeah, now the clay is basically all in place, and my tripod's nice and steady. So what we'll basically do next here is kind of adjust so you guys can get a better view of what I'll actually be animating, hopefully. But this basement isn't necessarily set up for streaming nearly as well as I would hope. Hopefully the internet connection and stuff isn't that bad. I do have an extender and all that jazz, so Holly, where are you going? Yeah. I might be able to... No, the mic's in the way. Which is awkward. Well, this isn't terrible. Should probably really work on getting camera angles figured out before I start going live. But... fake it till I make it. So... Can't adjust for lighting on both ends. This is difficult. I know you're there. Maybe I can get it to focus on that kind of thing so the lighting isn't exactly terrible. Nope. Oh boy. Doing stop motion live presents its own unique challenges, I find, but I better plug my cell phone in before I lose that. I've ranted on that in the past where basically this cell phone has a setup where it's plugged in and it will constantly stay on, which is basically what you kind of want your phone to do, because your camera will basically make autofocus adjustments and then your camera is going to look funny and you're going to get a bunch of weird flickering in your animation, which nobody wants. So I'm trying to just bring the laptop slightly closer here. There. Oh, nice. So you finished your stop motion animation. That's pretty cool. I'll have to check that out. You'll have to send me... I think I have you on Insta? So, yeah. Send me a link to that or find me on that other social media page. I think the links are in there, so... Also, hit buttons. Be sure to smash that like button so that way we get a couple more people in here tonight. So far, it seems like it's going to be a slower stream, but that's totally fine with me. But it'd be nice to get a couple more watch time hours because I also have a special announcement that I would kind of like to make, but if there's just a few or one people here, there's probably no point in making that announcement as of just yet. So, we'll proceed with work as planned with the animation. No, I think my camera angle's okay. Hopefully it's not terrible. Hey, Art Like Productions, thanks for tuning in. Today seems to be a slower day, but I'm glad you're here. Working on a couple things. They're basically just setting up Shimo's face for the next scene. Camera might be a little awkward, to be honest, but it's kind of the best I can do, unfortunately, at this particular juncture in time. Because I can't add too much lighting for the background camera, unfortunately, on my streams because of shadowing problems, which I'm sure you're well aware of because you do stop motion as well. So the first thing we're going to do is essentially kind of get Shimo just kind of getting into her blinking phase. So we'll pull out my little fancy little S Pen here for my remote and take my first couple free frames, and then we'll work from there, starting to animate the eye color change. Now this one will probably be a shorter scene. I only plan on doing it for about 2 seconds, maybe 3, 2.5 probably, just to kind of get it out of the way. So we'll just have our eyes change colors and then have a little bit of like, I don't want to say smoke, but basically frost or what you would see come out of your breath during a very cold day, if that makes any sense. Hello, Mr. Mittens. Yeah. I know you're there. Now I have a kitty in my lap. Mr. Mittens, the assistant. Hey. He's my supervisor. It's not very productive, though. So first 4, I don't really want to do anything too complicated. Very small movements here. Oops. Now I will grab some white plasticine clay and effectively just kind of sculpt a quick little eyelid. Okay, quit clawing me. Get out of here. Go away. They're just gonna sit there clawing my lap. I don't need your assistance, Mr. Mitz. No, it's rude. I am not a scratch post. Nope. Go. You're too close to the lights. Should beat it, scram, buddy. Thank you. And this is obviously pretty easy to apply. I mean, it's probably really hard for you guys to see, unfortunately. But you just place a small film of white plasticine clay over top of the eye, basically. I hate this feature about the phone. I don't know why. I have to double tap the bottom of the screen to get it to do the individual frames, otherwise it just shows it as one continuous line. I don't know why it does that. I miss the old setup where it just showed me this. Because this is ultimately what I like to do. It's not by any means maybe a very fast technique, but it's a very sure method to make sure your animations are nice and smooth, basically. So I typically like to kind of pick things frame by frame. So just a slight head tilt with the eye blink. And then we'll continue to kind of have her head kneel down like she's kind of doing a slight bow. And then when her eye changes color, we'll have it basically open up and spring back up. Oh, got a couple other chats here. What do we got? Hello, Mr. Mitz. Yeah, he's quite a pest when it comes to the streams a lot of the time, I'll admit. He always interrupts things. He's a habit of grabbing my hands and treating them like, he wraps his little mitts around it, for lack of a better term, and he just, like, holds onto my hand. He's like, nope, no, you can't do anything. And, of course, if I try to take it away, I just have this cat basically attached to me the entire time. So, yeah. He's my adorable little interruption, for lack of a better description. We'll probably have Fu come visit later on during the stream. She's kind of just hanging out, too, so she's not too far. Can I see your dog? Oh, of course. Okay. We got a animal request. I'll go grab Fufu for a short little bit. I don't know which dog you're referring to, but probably the pug. Most people seem to love Fu. She's just kind of having a nap, so I'll grab her for a quick little bit, and I'll be right back. The pug. Hey. You lady. Uh-oh. There's the Fufu. You're now the host, Fu. What do you got to say? No? You're just like, Daddy, why did you wake me? Who's your sleepy girl? Oh, there's the other one. I don't know. Of course, she's still out of camera. You want to come say hi too? You may as well. Come up. Come up. Come on. Come on, you're Hufflepuff. We got a corner of a German Shepherd. Oh, God. Oh, there she is. Hey, Holly. Hey. Ah. No tongue. No tongue. The stream is being taken over by the pets. Yeah. Hi. Thanks. Yep. Slobber. Well, there. Yeah, you got both. Yeah, I know. You were just out. Quit it. Ah! Watch where you're stepping, sweetie. I know. Hi. Okay. Well, now that we've had the animals show and tell, I can probably proceed back to work as normal with animating. I might not want you in my lap though, Miss Boo. He? You kind of look like you're a little upset with me for disturbing your nap anyway. Like, no. You know, I was comfortable. He? Yeah? Alright. We're gonna go park you back. Just because you're kinda well-rounded. Ah, bumping cameras. Okay. I will try to do my best without being interrupted this time. Seems to happen every point at some point in the stream. Although I think a lot of you get a kick out of it or seem to really enjoy seeing the animals. I'll probably do, I got hair all over my mouth and stuff. Okay, but yeah, I'll probably set up a stream where I just do play dates with the pets. I think a lot of you would probably get a good kick out of that. Not necessarily what this channel's orchestrated about, but they seem to be popular enough where it'd be a good excuse. Oops. I think I probably just ruined things. Good excuse to play with them and get you guys to kind of know them a little bit better. Ah, crap. Okay, here comes the difficult part, because now we just bumped everything. See if I can get it back in the exact same spot, but that's where that shadow effect comes in handy off to the side. And for those of you who may be curious, I do use Stop Motion Studio as the app that I tend to use. Though we could probably just start over, and I could just blaze through it really quick and not have to worry about trying to fix things. But let's see. Yeah, I'm only like 7 frames in. Okay. Well. Oops. Better to start earlier with a mistake than later. Reset button. Alright. Tilt her head back up. I'll probably start off with a couple. Yeah, we can start 4 without her moving probably. Then throw in the blink, which is just a small sheet of clay. Push things down just a little bit. Kind of give her appearance of a bow or a slate, to make it look a little bit more intense. Might be a bit too much. It's probably hard for you guys to see, but I only move things probably, in this case, 1 millimeter or 2 at a time, so it's like about 1/16 for you Americans. If that, maybe a 32nd. Which is the notch between your 1/16. I'm a fabricator by day, so I'm used to dealing with measurements and moving things very little. In that sense, it still looks a little fast-paced, but we'll see. I'll go a little further and see if I don't have to restart again. Sometimes it kind of happens with these things. It takes a little bit to kind of gain the grounds of getting your stop motion set up properly. One thing too, I have a habit of cramming my lights maybe a little too close together sometimes, but I think I gave it enough berth. The light sensor on this cell phone seems to be far more sensitive in comparison to my old iPhone there, so which is, I suppose, a slight plus to a degree, but at the same time too, yeah. It's caused a few issues because I'm so used to dealing with not the greatest light sensor that I tend to overexpose some of my stuff, which exposure, I suppose. I'm not sure if that's the proper terminology for it, but you get what I'm trying to say. Things that can be a little bright, and unfortunately that can make things kind of malfunction funny. Doesn't look terrible. A little choppy, but if we added a couple more frames in there, we should be just fine. Again, bump the neck down just a tad. Try not to bump our cell phone again. That's very important. See what the polls say, actually. I'm kind of curious, too. Oh. Got Godzilla at 67%. This poll seems to be pushing more towards Shimo. That's pretty cool. I apologize. The chat still doesn't work on the, maybe if I push this button? It only shows me it for a second. I don't know why it just does that. It'd be nice if I could look at the camera and respond to you guys, but for whatever reason, that doesn't work on my tablet. I was planning on basically using the iPhone as my live streaming device, but unfortunately that thing doesn't always work very well reliably with the audio, so we're now just kind of using this thing because it seems to actually work half decently, but now I have to use my laptop chat, but that's okay. You can see stop motion by... Okay, so you have it up on YouTube. Oh, Godzilla. Alexis. Yeah, Godzilla's kind of in trouble so far, but I did kind of want to make this fight kind of a close tie, to be honest. For a lot of the G-Man fans that are watching, I'd put it this way. I don't think you have that much in reality to really worry about. He will win overall, but he's going to take a few hits. I'll just put it that way. He's going to struggle at the beginning and then come with a bounce back. I usually like to have, especially in this case, I'd like to keep things a little bit close. Because in my mind, Shimo almost, to a certain degree, might win, if anything. But at the same time, too, I know what kind of response that might arrive. But that being said, the only reason I'm saying that he could potentially lose against Shimo would be the fact that is, if she's the one that allegedly has frozen King Ghidorah in ice, King Ghidorah was arguably stronger than Godzilla. So, you know, because he was only able to defeat that character with the assistance of Mothra basically, you know, sacrificing herself to him. Arguably, he wasn't technically evolved, I guess, but that being said, I didn't really, from the GXK film itself, I didn't personally notice a huge difference between the power regiments of the old legendary and the new legendary. Sorry to kind of blocking the camera there, but I just wanted to put that tripod piece back because I have a bad habit of losing that in the past, and it's the only one I have, so I don't want to do that. Because I've gone, oh my god, where is it? I can't use anything or film anything without that piece, so. But yeah. that's kind of my opinion on the whole Shimo versus Godzilla thing. I think it would be really close, if not technically, Shimo would almost win, but that's not going to be the case here. I don't want to spoil it, but it seems to be some people that are really concerned about Godzilla. That's why there's the poll, so I can basically deliver you guys what you want. And hey, Claymationzilla, thanks for tuning in. Hopefully the camera angle is not terrible. I know things in the basement aren't necessarily set up best lighting-wise for streaming, but basically, we're just kind of working on Shimo, changing her eye colors at the moment. Right now, we just kind of have her fading off down and blinking. And then once the blink is over, that's when we're going to do a little eye shift and just kind of probably add a couple sound effects afterwards in edit to kind of help sell that effect and make it seem a little bit cooler. Pun intended. I wonder if I could jet this thing way up to the side here. Ah, that could work. There. At least you get a slightly better view now, guys, of the actual animating part. You won't see me too much unless I'm kind of come back and act around towards the chat. But you might catch the top of my hat and stuff like that too. So hopefully this is working a little better for you guys. Let me know. Yeah, it looks better in my eyes because you can actually kind of see what I'm doing. Alright. One thing too. Sometimes your character's motions won't kind of go off in the area that you necessarily want them to. Oh, go away, Preston. Not right now. Oops. But sometimes their necks or heads won't kind of go in the direction that you want. So you kind of have to make sure everything stays in a nice steady line. We had it kind of tilting off to a funny angle there, and I didn't like that. So just straighten it out a little bit. Take a couple more frames. And we're about half a second into my blinking eye-changing color animation. Jamie wants Big Boom. Big Boom is building up, I promise. We're charging up to that point, for lack of a better description. Oh, it actually is going to stay. The chat's going to stay there. Is it? I think it is. Hey, I fixed it! I know what I'm doing now. Haha, big brain move. Yes. What do you got to say there? When do you think it'll be finished? Probably next couple of weeks. I'm hoping. Basically, there'll be one more Supercut, the Shimo Supercut coming out, and seeing how there's the whole 4K celebration, I kind of set a poll some time ago with one of the Facebook admins that generally likes to promote a lot of my posts on Facebook for the Godzilla groups that I'm kind of a part of. Hi, Mr. Mittens. But yeah, we set a goal for 4K where everyone would kind of get a house tour of all of my characters in stop motion, the sets, and where I do the sound work, and kind of everything in between. So yeah, there'll be basically a house tour probably video, not necessarily a house tour, but a stop motion. You can see him doing his little mitten thing here where he's like, nope, your hand belongs to me now. But yeah, we'll probably have a little stop motion setup tour here soon as well with the whole 4K celebration. And now that we actually have a couple people viewing in here, I may as well come out with the important announcement that I kind of mentioned at the beginning of the stream. Now that we're halfway through, this is probably going to be annoying for anyone who's watching after the fact, but oh well, hey, but this is good news. So, as Mr. Mittens chews away at my fingertips here, as of today, my YouTube channel has officially reached basically full monetization levels and have now basically applied for, oh, I'm sorry, full YouTube partnership. So within a month or two, they should have a response, and that means basically a whole lot of more, excuse me, more opportunities for you guys. So basically that means there'll be super chats and various other things. I will be actually getting a little bit of ad revenue from all of this. So at this particular juncture, very soon I'll actually be an official YouTuber. So we'll be slightly profitable. So unfortunately that kind of comes with me having to make the announcement where unfortunately I may or may not be quite as active as normally on streaming and stuff like that. Yeah, thanks, Claymationzilla. I think I've already kind of spread the good news to you earlier, but I appreciate that again. But yeah, unfortunately, I probably might not be as active with streaming the next week or two. I have a whole bunch of things that I've kind of been setting up for basically future endeavors, with the fact that I will actually be able to have like store and potential sponsorship programs and stuff like that essentially running through the channel. Now, essentially what this means for you guys, I'm lining up a good merch deal. Probably I want to get to a point where I'm maybe doing like small 3D printed models, and I'm in contact with one of my other nerdier friends who happens to have all that kind of stuff already set up. So basically I'm hoping we can do like scanned versions of my stop motion models, and basically you guys can get small toy versions of them, which will be kind of one merch idea. Then obviously there's probably going to be some certs and various other things. So basically with that, there's going to be a lot more cool things for you guys to basically kind of interact with the whole channel. So I won't rant on along anymore about that. So I'll just put it this way. I'm very happy. It's been a long time coming. So again, thank you all for your support. This has been great because yeah, now we are officially basically there, and only a little bit more work will, to go to the point where this is actually really probably something that's a lot more fun, and hopefully you guys enjoy all of that new stuff. It's probably more exciting for me than it is necessarily for you. However, I do know quite a lot of you have been kind of waiting for merchandise and various other things. So yeah, there'll be a lot more opportunities coming soon to Moose Motion Animation. But in the meantime, I should probably continue with my whole, endeavor at the moment where we're working with Shimo. So you're kind of getting the view between all the lights and stuff. So hopefully, again, this is suffice a view. I know it's probably not ideal, but at least you can kind of get a better idea of what's actually taking place. And you can see my cell phone where the animation actually is, so you can see what about 30 minutes of work so far kind of looks like, although there's been some adorable interruptions, Mr. Mittens. But I think we'll only keep a couple more, maybe 10 more frames. So we're about 1 second into the entire animation at that point with her blinking. Again, want to make sure everything's going a straight line. Her head kind of wants to do a weird tilt off to the side. You don't want that to happen, because then it looks like she's kind of doing like a, what? A curious tilt. We don't want that. We want a bow. Okay, now I have to kind of think about what I want to have take place in my head for a minute. I could probably go through the settings here and see if it does the loop playback thing. It probably is already on that setting, but yeah, okay, well, I'll do a quick demonstration. So for those of you who may be new to this app, in order to get, say, things constantly played back, now this is the frame rate that I use. It's 24. Obviously, it's probably pretty hard for you guys to see that. Hello, Mr. Mitz. You're back once again. You have now a couple different options here. We have a playback, and then the one obviously to the far left here. That's basically just playing the last frames only. Consider we only have very few frames at the moment. It's not like a big deal, but when you get into pretty lengthy animations, that's a handy setting to basically have, so you can just kind of view what you've only done and not the entire project. So you're not sitting there looping the entire animation, watching it over and over again. But basically, right now what I'm doing is just kind of watching it and determining what kind of motions I'm going to be doing next. So this is probably the part where I kind of start doing some strange acting where I'm kind of pretending to be Shimo Okay, we'll probably hold it for 10 frames. I was hoping, you know, being an artist would get me away from doing math, but I have to do it a lot more, so that's about close to a half a second, just under. And then I might have just a little bit of that fog kind of roll out of her mouth shortly with maybe 4 or 6 frames there. So that way we're up to 2 seconds, and then have it open, and then we'll go to 3 for the eye glowing, approximately. So yeah, okay. Doing my director talk to myself. Cat hair. Mr. Mitties, you are shedding like crazy. Fortunately, it is the season for that because, yeah, it's springtime here in Canada. So I get 10 free frames right now. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, we're just gonna take a quick peek and see what that looks like so far. Cool, not bad. 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, we're at a point where now, when you're in full screen mode, I should probably mention in this app, it will only play the last frames that you've taken. It won't actually play back the entire video, but it's kind of a nice setting where you don't necessarily have to have everything adjusted for that. It'll just kind of do things automatically, so you don't have to have that. So once you're back in this setting, where it's smaller and you have all your options, it'll now play through the entire animation, unless you have your settings set otherwise. So probably a nice little hack to save yourself a little bit of time, basically, if you don't want to have your settings messed with all the time. But I have a habit of playing with them quite a bit. Alright. It's not one that we leave well enough alone. I feel like I can squeeze in probably a couple more frames of no motion just to kind of hold the suspense. And even more. Actually, we'll do 4. I'm really pushing it this time probably, but this is about as easy as stop motion will ever get. And it's, you don't have to do anything and just kind of build suspense. Although that's probably a slight trick that I've learned from watching some anime shows in particular. I'll admit, I'm not like a huge person into anime. I do generally kind of watch it more or less for educational purposes, because I do really admire their abilities to do animation and build that suspense. Because, fun fact, they actually don't use a lot of frames for a lot of those anime movies or shows. For an average anime show, I believe it only takes about 5,000 to 4,000 frames. So that's pretty impressive on its own, considering it's like a 20-minute video. And then here I am making, 2-minute videos with approximately the same number of frames. So I guess that's a world of difference, but I kind of admire them for their frame saving capabilities. I'll put it that way. So now we're going to move on. Let's see, you got a chat going on there, Mr. Artlike. I'll probably come back to that here right away. Gonna start doing just a little bit of the cold breath. I don't know what you call that. The fog coming out of her mouth now. Just kind of have that seeping out ever so slightly, and then once her eyes open, we're going to start moving the head back up and have her eyes change colors. And of course, we'll add a bunch of sound effects in the after post, so it looks better. Now this is where I'm really going to have to start working in single frames, unfortunately, mainly because Shimo's white, and all that white fuzz that I'm going to be adding onto the side there is going to be really hard to see. It's a very subtle detail, but it's one of those things where you will notice it in the animation more if it's not there. So just while I'm working with it, it's not necessarily the easiest thing to kind of see. So in order to make sure that all my smoke is basically properly, not smoke, fog is properly flowing, I'm just gonna have to kind of pick through it very little bit by little till we build it up appropriately, because right now we just want a small little puff to kind of leave the exit of our mouth. Because if you go too much too soon, it's just gonna look really janky. There we go. Oh, and by the way, guys, if you haven't yet, be sure to sub to Mr. Art Production. I'm pretty sure a lot of you will get a kick out of his animations in particular. He does a lot of dinosaur stuff, and I know, well, there's quite a few dinosaur/Godzilla nerds here. So, yeah. Be sure to support that guy, too. I've been friends with him for a number of years. He's got quite a lot of followers on Instagram, and it'd be nice to see his YouTube channel boost up a little bit. So go check his channel out if you haven't already. Thanks, Kingzilla. So yeah, you seem to be a pretty good supporter of this channel. Check out Art Productions. If you enjoy stop motion, I think you'll enjoy his stuff too. Summer in Woodlands with Ducks. That's an interesting name. Hello, thanks for tuning in. How long have you been doing stop motion? Okay, that's an interesting question. Now, how long have I been doing stop motion? Stop motion is one of those things that's been off and on throughout my life, unfortunately. Now, I've been a sculptor my entire life. I don't even really know when I started, so I've been making claymation, stop motion models, for lack of a better description, for almost probably 25 plus years, 27, 28, maybe more at this point. As far as stop motion goes, I'm old. I'm in my 30s now, so I remember a time before smartphones existed and there wasn't really, unfortunately, a whole lot of access to doing this kind of stuff on a regular basis, for lack of a better description. Basically, so I did some of it as a kid, but again, I grew up in the 90s, so I remember there being a program for stop motion that I would kind of enter through Saskatoon, or like where I live, and there wasn't really a whole lot, I'll admit, where I'm from, so it was kind of off and on. I kind of played around with it a lot as a child, so, but with, it's not answer, I should just get to the point, but yeah, off and on as a kid, not, you know, fairly consistently, but unfortunately technology wasn't there. Now I actually have the technology to do it, but I've been doing stop motion consistently through YouTube now for at least 5 to 6 years, so that kind of answers your question probably a lot better. So 5 to 6 years approximately, off and on as a kid, but I've been kind of working on this stuff basically my entire life. A long time. Oh, you can't find them on YouTube. Hey, if you can, copy a link and post it in the chat, if you're still here. Oh, we got Godzilla, got 67% in the polls now. But yeah. Post your link, Mr. Artlike, or just give yourself a shout out to what your channel name is. I remember seeing what you had a video actually posted recently, so I'll admit, that's probably one of those cases where YouTube is probably punishing smaller creators, where you're not hitting certain keywords and he's not, popping up because of that. YouTube is a really strange beast, unfortunately. Even I noticed a drastic change in my numbers once I changed. I don't think that's something a lot of people have noticed, but it's technically no longer just Moose Motion, it's Moose Motion Animation, but I changed that for a reason. Now, that might kind of help get some of you other smaller content creators an idea of how it works. Basically, there are certain keywords that you kind of have to use in order to pop off with YouTube. And in this case, when you would type in my old name, it would just give you a bunch of hunting videos, which necessarily doesn't have any association with what I'm doing here. So after pumping in that last keyword, animation, that made a big difference, because now it's kind of showing up in that genre where it's showing cartoons and different animations. So be very, very picky and choosy on how you title things and how you even name your channel, for example. Just everything like that kind of has a small intertwining nature, which is kind of annoying, but it does make sense, so pick your words carefully. Apparently I'm, yeah, giving YouTuber advice while I do my animations. But I kind of like to help support my community as much as possible because I know how much time and effort really goes into this stuff, so hopefully other people can get that partnership program as well. If not already have, if you do, well, congratulations. I'm just as happy as you are. So now we're going to continue with the fog animations, oh god. So we'll work frame by frame here, painstakingly putting on tiny little bits of cotton. I don't think I want to make her mouth open fully yet. Just have it kind of creep in. I think that'd be the better option. Now we're just going to slowly move that up along the mouth. See if I can get away with not having to add any extra fluff. Fluff? I think, yeah, that's a good way for it. Yeah, that looks good. Wondering if you guys can see that little face thing, because I have that weird purple thing, and he doesn't seem to like it when I take pictures on this app. It's like, no, this doesn't support it. I'm like, yeah, it does. Take the picture. You listen to me. I don't care what you fucking, or your facial expressions are. It's like, oh my god. He's like, no, I don't care. Keep going. Although, I'll admit, that's one thing that if you do have like an S Pen on your, as a remote, do be careful if you have other options, because that has ruined one scene for me. And by that, basically, I mean you can have like multiple settings when you push the button or different parts on this thing, and it will take you to another part of your phone, and it's just like, no, don't do that. So I basically probably only use it for stop motion. So it basically has no settings other than just being a camera remote. Just so it just kind of keeps it in its simplest format so no mistakes can happen and I don't ruin my animation that I've been working on for hours. Okay, now that we have just a little bit creeping out, I'm going to start opening her mouth just ever so slightly, and then we're going to increase the amount of fog that's kind of rolling through. Ah! Oops. That's gone. Now to give you an idea how little I'm actually adding at a time, it's literally just that, and even that's probably twice as much than what I need, so just a tiny little fluff. Very little. Now, any under other normal circumstances, I would probably use larger pieces. But we're currently basically kind of trying to build it up. Oh, I know, Holly. I'm just gonna go through all my pictures. Okay, what I think I'm gonna do is have her neck slightly arc up slowly too. Very, very, very little. Just as her mouth's opening, just to kind of give it that little bit more intense feel, like something's kind of building up. And that movement's like probably like 1/32, if not a millimeter or under. Barely registerable. But all those tiny little movements add up in the end. Now we're gonna, ooh, almost bumped the camera there. Now, this is probably going to be a difficult part where I'm going to effectively try and add in some to the inside part of her mouth, and then basically kind of line everything back up. Okay, if anything I did too good of a job there, we need to push the jaw down just a little bit again. There we go. Alright. We almost have 2 seconds of animation now. So that's actually pretty good considering my average standards, unfortunately. I will admit. It can be pretty rough at times, unfortunately, but not terrible always. This one's pretty simple. We're just focusing on one character kind of doing one simple thing, so it's nothing too complicated, basically. Thankfully. So we're able to burn through this one pretty quick. So yeah, a couple, probably about 6 more frames approximately, if that, till we have her eyes officially open and change colors. Which is technically taken over an hour because I did have to set everything up past that, but we're going to ignore that. Only account for the times that I'm actually animating. Yeah. Although, that being said, there's been some setups going through on my streams, and yeah, that's obviously very, very important as well, getting everything just appropriately set up. Mr. Mittens, can you please hold still? Uh-oh. Got a whiny pug now. Excuse me. Yeah, just not too much to commentate on this particular juncture in time. Just slowly adding in bits of fog for her breath. And arching the neck back. And opening that mouth just ever so slightly. Oh, I know, honey. I don't think I can get much better without disturbing my microphone. There we go. think we have 2 seconds. Oh, no, we're not at the 2-second mark yet. Almost. So once you get enough smoke or fog placed on your character, it gets a lot easier. You just at that point kind of have to manipulate it a little bit and play around with it to kind of make it look like it's moving. Now you do kind of still have to give it a sense of direction, kind of keep it flowing in the same kind of area, if that makes any sense. But your task becomes a little easier. You just kind of have to pinch and push it a little bit. Not like we were just working on before where you had to slowly build up tiny little bits just to make it work. So now we should have 2 seconds of animation now that we have 48 frames. Just on the edge. Boink. So I think this is the point where we're gonna have her open her eyes finally and shift colors. And I should probably have an alarm go off on my tablet soon. I don't think it should, but I always forget to turn that one off. Oh, I thought I bumped the camera, but I didn't. Okay, now we can actually take her eyelid off, which can go one of 2 ways. It's going to be easy this time. Just use the finger, pop right off. Now, I need the blue section. So this is pretty, don't want to use that finger. Pretty substandard, just some light blue plasticine. I know her eyes technically don't glue light blue, but it's what we're gonna have to work with, unfortunately. Okay, you're getting a little too close, friendly Mr. Mittens. But if I put white on a white character, it's not gonna stand out. She's just gonna look like she has some really, really bad cataracts. So we don't want that. So to make those, essentially, it's pretty simple. I just kind of grab a small slit and just kind of pinch it into a bit of a triangle shape, kind of making it look like an anime eye, for lack of a better description. But I think it kind of looks cool and interesting. And it's just something really simple you can do. And give him that little triangle look. I generally kind of like because it makes him look mean. So once you get your shape in, just stick it on the eye, just like it were the eyelid. Except now this is, yeah, kind of a replacement glow piece. An easy, cheap method to kind of make it look like your characters have some special effects going on. And I'm sure if one person wanted to, you could probably, I might try it with this one, we'll see if that works out or not, but could probably manipulate the exposure in certain areas of your frames to make it look like that eyepiece is actually glowing a little bit more. Now this kind of becomes a slightly challenging part in the animation process, at least for me, someone who kind of wants to help sell that effect to make it look a little bit more intense. You kind of have to add some proper head movements instead of just having it be the same. I mean, that could work, but I kind of like to make it go mwah. So we'll probably just have her head tilt back a little bit faster and then forward. And then after we adjust her face and her neck, don't forget about the fog. Okay. Now, this is why I like to kind of go through frame by frame when it comes to doing the fog stuff. I know it's a little hard for you guys to see, but basically what I'm dealing with is there's a certain portion of that cotton that hasn't moved, like at all, and it sticks out like a sore thumb at that point when the stuff's supposed to be constantly flowing. So when it doesn't do that with just a simple poke or gesture of my finger, so then I usually come in with a more precise, more of a precision tool. In this case, my trusty old claymation knife. Just kind of poke and prod things into shape. Basically, it's kind of a hard spot for my hand or finger to actually reach, and you can just slightly brush it, and that should be enough. You don't need to touch it a lot. But unfortunately, sometimes when you do that, everything moves, and then you kind of have to stuff it all back together. So I'm also going to have her mouth open just a little bit more, giving this part of the animation just a slight bit more jank. So it's a little more, bit of a jerky motion to a degree, but it kind of helps sell that effect of her eyes shifting colors and something mean's really happening, right? Yeah, that's right, Mr. Mittens. It's all about the subtle little details. Let's see what we got in the chat here. Kingzilla, I see you have something to say. Yeah, you too, Mr. Mitz? Mm-hmm. Then what? Fine, not gonna talk to me. Yeah. Oh, cool, you're doing stop motion at the same time? I mean, don't be gone too long. I probably won't be live too much longer at this particular juncture in time, but we'll probably squeeze in a few more frames, nearly finish this section of animation, and then basically what I'll be doing off stream at that point is continuing the freezing one. Now, Holly, you are dangerously close to my light setup. Go away. My German Shepherd has some jealousy issues, if you can't tell. There it goes. I pay attention to the cat or so much as the other pug. She's like, oh, what about me? It's like, really? I love you. I love you all, but can never satisfy them all, it seems. They're like children sometimes. Well, that's what you get when you have spoiled pets. So just gonna play around with the fog. Jar up in the mouth a little bit. Tilt the neck back. Bring her focus up just ever so slightly too. And hit the camera, so we're gonna have to hit fucking reset. Apologize for my vulgar language there, but yeah, that was bad. Poodoo. It's barely registered, but I know it's there. So I just slightly massage my camera back into place. And we're back. Nothing happened, kind of. There we go. Yes? What you doing? Being a pest? Yeah, go away. You are too much of an interruption, my buddy. Come on. Not close to the lights. Stay away from the light. And for those of you who do stop motion at home too, I would highly recommend not really having your animals around. Doesn't necessarily create a very controlled environment, but I usually make do. My pets are kind of spoiled. They just get free range of the entire house all the time, basically. It is just as much their home as it is mine, so I'm willing to deal with the headache, although yeah. There's been only one really bad occasion, if I recall correctly. That was many years ago. So you got a question there, I'll get right back to it. Uno momento, por favor. 1 minute, sir. Probably shouldn't try to speak too many different languages, because technically I know my thing's labeled as English. That is not English. Fun fact, I guess I can speak about like 4 or 5 different languages. Not fluently, but I can toss a couple conversations together. Mostly Latin and Greek, but because of that's dinosaur stuff. No one else really speaks that. Unless you're a paleo nerd. But, yeah. The only paleo nerd friends I have are online. I don't really know any in real person, unfortunately. I'm just that weird guy. People are like, oh, you like dinosaurs? Yeah? What are you, a child? Well, I never grew up properly. What's the problem? If anything, I think you have the problem, sir. You used to be cool. Did you like dinosaurs when you were growing up? Yeah, well, what happened? That's my question. Okay. May I help you, Mr. Mittens? Mr. Mitts. The Mr. Mitts. Yes. Pesty cat. Yep. Oh, pesty cat. Whoa, 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 whoa. Hey. At least you're not the smelly cat. I know what I'm feeding you. Gaming with Adrian! Hello! Yeah, Mr. Mitz has been off and on stream all day. He's very chatty. Although he usually is. Where's the pug? Fu was on earlier, Claymation. I think you just missed her. She isn't that far away though, so I could probably grab her in the next little bit just before we end the stream here. Probably angle the camera down just a little bit more so it's not necessarily... Yeah, you can see all the cords and stuff in the background there. I got tons of things, unfortunately. There's cords for that light, this light, cell phone, laptop, lamp, and everything else in between. If you're going to check out Mitsuko versus Doug, it's very fast. Okay, very quick. Yeah, what kind of frame rates do you use out of curiosity there, Kingzilla? I use 2 and 24, so that generally means my stuff is very, very, very kind of... I mean, you get 1 of 2 results. It's either really slow paced or really fast paced, depending on your motions. In this case, most of the time it's very slow, as you can see. There's no real big fast movements. There was some during, whatchamacallit, when Shimo slapped Godzilla there. Although I'll admit, I was still doing 2 and 24 FPS, which, yeah, debatable whether or not I should have honestly done 2 and 24 frames per second there, because I know a lot of professional animators, they hate it when people do double frames for fast motions, so I'll probably go through the frames on that one and deduct a couple frames, just remove them, just so I can have that initial speed with the slap a little bit more, because when you do it in 2, it gives it that slightly slower motion, and it looked a little... could be sped up just a little bit, so I could probably either play with my frame rates on that and go like 25 FPS, and or probably just end up cutting some photos out. But 2 and 24 seems to be a good magic number. That's what most professional studios will use. Some will use 3 and 30, but it's what a lot of my old animations used to be at, but I personally didn't, yeah. 3 pictures in between your motions is honestly too much. You definitely can tell it's stop motion at that point. Not that that's a bad thing, but stop motion traditionally has a habit of being very, very janky sometimes in between things, and yeah. You get that very traditional stop motion frame rate, I think, at that point, or effect once you hit the 3 and 30 mark. 2 and 24 just works better. The even numbers. But it's all a matter of preference. I was talking, I remember, like, one YouTuber, I think a couple years ago, who also did stop motion dinosaurs. And he would do, like, 8 frames at 30, and it was, honestly, I hate to be that guy, but it looked bad. I can't remember, I won't list the guy's name even if I did remember it, but yeah, he had actually a pretty decent number of subs, like to the point where I think that was probably his full-time job, and I'm like, dude, I hate to be that guy, but you kind of suck. Ugh. Is he just have these very, very long pauses in between each animation, and I did not like that. I think it was more of a strategic point from his end. I hate to call him out on it, but I understand he's trying to grab more watch time hours as much as he can through it by just holding on to the frames more than he probably should. Sacrificing his quality of animation for those few seconds, basically, of extra watch time minutes, and you'll never see me do that. Never. I won't. I mean, arguably, I guess you could say the eye closing here is slightly, but it's literally for like half a second, and it's just there to build a small amount of suspense. You're not seeing that throughout the entirety of my films. I will never, ever, ever stoop that level. Nope, 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 nope. Anyway. I digress. I'm picky. Very picky. Okay, I'm just having her head start to kind of tilt forward now. It's probably one of these moments too where I'm gonna have to make these special effects for Shimo sound effects because there's not a lot on her out there. So I'm probably gonna have to pretend to be Shimo and manipulate my sounds for this part to kind of make it sound like she's breathing or almost hissing. Or I might just kind of find that cool breath sound effect. Hey, Mr. Mittens. Go away. Trying to pump out frames and you're not helping. Stream time is not attention time. You get cameo appearances now, buddy. That's it. I'm in charge here. You're taking up too much precious frame time. I got a feeling you're gonna cheat one of my lamps like as a webbing post. Then potentially ruin everything. I can't be mad at anybody but myself. So yeah, playing with smoke, slightly tilting head forward now. Just ever so slightly. Oops. See if I can get to... Well, I see you there, Adam Games. I'll get to you guys in the chat in a bit here. I only have probably maybe 70... We'll try and get to 78 frames. I'm at 62. Or at least 70. And that should pretty much conclude this actual portion of the whole entire animation. So, I think it'll be the first time I finish a scene on stream. If you have time, can you... Down Viper, because this is who I'm certified. That's nice, Kingzilla. You use Stop Motion Studio 2. It's a good app. I personally do really like it. Not sponsored. Although, if you are watching, not likely. But yeah, you get it. Definitely would take that opportunity. That'd be kind of cool. Oh, Doug fight. Okay, what's the character here that you want me to look? Drone Viper. Excusez-moi. Well, I think I spelt that wrong. Yeah. Oh, Drone Viper. Okay. That's it's like one of those flying snake things then. Seems like this is a bit of a rabbit hole. I'm kind of just going over, but I think we are probably talking Godzilla versus Kong. 2021 is a good example. I was under the impression that that was Warbat, I thought, but yeah, Kong versus Warbat. So that's probably where our confusion kind of laid. Basically, I refer to it as a Warbat, and you're referring to it as that. So yeah, okay. We've gotten a couple requests for that one, gaming with Andrian. So yeah, cool. Back to the stop motion. Uh-oh. Okay. Claymation, you requested a pug, so the pug is now broken free! What you doing in there, Mr. Mitz? So yeah, here's Miss Fooby. You puggy. You stink, Foo. Go away, you're gonna bump my lights, I'm sorry. No, away from the light. You beat it. Go away, go, 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 go. Thank you. Oh, Foo. But yes, here is the poo. Hello, poo. I'm sorry, old lady, you don't like that, eh? Okay. Nope. Nope, 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 nope. Jealousy is not gonna get you anything. Okay, Boo. I can't do this with you. Because you're making everyone jealous too, so I'm gonna put you down for a bit. I'm almost done this scene, so... I'll have plenty of time for you animals soon. Just leave me alone at the moment. Here, go in there. Come on. Good girl. Okay, Mitz. You beat it. Go. There we go. Okay. Let's get this done. No more furry interruptions. And don't like the direction of that fog portion. So, big thing again when doing smoke or anything of that matter. Gotta keep the sense of direction fairly uniform. Always have it flow in the same direction approximately, otherwise it looks really weird. No, go away. Door's closed. And I'm just slightly moving the tongue down and closing mouth. Move neck forward, tilt head back up to neutral position. So it looks like she's staring off at Godzilla there. And then move around the smoke. Basically, you kind of develop a little bit of a pattern. Is a good way to get into it. Just kind of know when to move what at what time. Move my fog way too far down, but I think at this point we're probably at a point where we can start adding just a little bit more. So we'll give a nice healthy chunk for the top half there. And again, slide in there with my trusty old knife, just to get the part that's hard to reach by between all those spikes on her face. Tongue in, mouth in, head slightly up, neck slightly forward. And move around the fog. Grab the knife. And slice. Well, not slice, but push. Try not to bump the camera. Did it twice. Double check, make sure nothing moved. Luckily, we have enough clay as a security to make sure things stay still. Because we don't want camera shake here. Puggy. Yeah, she's only there for a little bit. I'll grab her in a bit here so we can say goodbye, but... she's way too hefty to be in my lap and do stop motion. I had Mr. Mitz in my lap for a good chunk of this video, but even he is starting to get to the point where it's like, hey, you're constantly clawing me. I can't. I'll have to grab the laser pointer and we'll have some games with him, wear him out before bedtime so that way he doesn't get the late night zoomies. need to move the head just slightly up more on that frame. Which slightly, I don't see it, but I know I have a slight problem going on here with her neck. So I'm gonna have to squeeze in a rubber sculpting tool and just kind of reattach her neck stem, because we got the clay is kind of cracked there and it's not really properly holding it up now. And again, pretty minor, people, don't freak out. It's going to happen on these characters from time to time. Effectively, every time I animate with them, I'm pretty much breaking and ruining them. And the most important feature is you can't see it on screen. Behind her head, so you can't tell. And at least you won't be able to see any imperfections such as that in the animations. Every now and then you might see one or two kind of cracks peeking through, but I'm usually pretty good at trying to keep those sealed up. Oof. Sometimes it doesn't like how fast I skip through my phone, I've noticed. One, two... Oh, I think we hit 3 seconds. Oh, almost. Probably like 4 more frames. Maybe 2, actually. So yeah, again, I know a popular question on this channel has been, how long does it take to do your average like stop motion scene? I don't want to discourage people from asking any questions, but that one does kind of bother me. It's just I never it is a very popular one, very popular. Just about everybody I know who finds out I do stop motion or has any regards to it always asks that same question: how long does it take? And it's like, well, it varies very much in between scenes. Like this, doing just a small complicated scene, even while I'm streaming, I was able to get about 3 seconds in. So that's not terrible, but again, a lot of the time, more complicated stuff, that's when you start getting into the ratio of like an hour per second, roughly. I think best example, I'm going to take one more frame just because we're at the 3 second mark, but one more won't hurt. I think the best example I can think of most on a recent nature that I mentioned earlier during the stream too was kind of bringing this thing full circle. The animation that I recently did today with Godzilla falling over, creating a huge smoke ring around the entire city. That one's only about a second, and it took me about an hour and a half, if not 2 hours, because there was a lot of things going on at that point. Mr. Mitch, shut up. But there was a lot of different things going on at that point. Oh, God, dude, quit interrupting. But there are a lot of different things going on at that point, so I'll quickly get this part finished, and then I will describe the scene as I keep getting interrupted by a pathetically whiny cat who doesn't know how to take no for an answer. Oh, there, I think you got the hint that time. Nope. No! Leave me alone, please. No! Not now. In a bit. No! You're pathetic. Go away. You don't need constant attention. Very demanding. Anyway. Can't even remember what I was doing. Oh yeah, what I was talking about earlier with the Godzilla falling. Okay, I better wrap this stream up pretty quick because he is getting really annoying and pesty apparently and wants attention. Not like he doesn't get enough, apparently. But anyway, so as I was describing with the Godzilla falling over scene here, which was Bob Legendary Godzilla, you can see his face, kind of. But basically, him tilting over was a fine balancing act with the character because he had a rod sticking through his side, which was basically on a camera angle so you couldn't see, had the camera basically angled down. And that had to be adjusted slowly outward on a specific angle so you couldn't see it, while his arm also kind of fell, covering it, whilst his other arm's coming in, and then he hits the ground, everything has to react to that, and the smoke comes around. Meanwhile, the entire town as well, to kind of help give the perspective, basically, each individual window and other little objects in the background of the city as he hit the ground was moving with the camera shaking around. So that animation took quite a bit longer. So like this one, 3-second part only took me an hour and a half approximately, maybe a little less if I wasn't doing it on stream, probably even an hour at that point. But with that legendary Godzilla falling over, smashing the ground, having the camera shake, smoke rings, and the buildings react around him, that's very complicated, and obviously that ratio then at that point doubles. So it took me about, 2 hours, an hour and a half for literally 1 second. So it varies a lot, and I'm sure a lot of you who do stop motion also can relate to that question, because I'm sure you get that one a lot. How long does it take? And it's like, oh, it depends what I'm doing. I don't know. So yeah, I'll grab my laptop here, and if you guys have any requests or suggestions for this particular situation for this monster fight, let me know, or requests. Now's a good time to fire it away before I just shut things down for the night. Oh, okay. I see what you're getting at there, gaming with Adrian. So you want, basically once I make Suko and Doug, you want a situation with one of those creatures. I could pull that off pretty easily. I mean, I have to make that creature, obviously. So, yeah. I mean, we're going to eventually probably have the entire cast of Monsterverse characters here at some point or another. It's just how long that's all going to take, because you do have to remember it takes almost like three weeks, if not more, sometimes to make these characters, and then we have to bring them to life on top of it, which is another very lengthy process. So there's a lot of things going on into this stuff. It's a ton of work, but it's definitely worth it in the end. I get a real kick out of basically being able to make these things and have so many people honestly be inspired and, look up to it to a certain extent. So, and then being able to bring them to life is just kind of an extra added bonus, because now I had the tech to do that. And yeah, I'll admit, when I was a kid, it wasn't nearly as regularly available as I would have liked, being unfortunately a little older. So now it's regularly available, and I'm just going to hit it as hard as I possibly can at this point. As much as I can, I think is the best way to put it. Because like I said, it takes a long time. You got to make characters and everything else in between. So yeah. Uh-oh. Well, I think that's my cue to go play with Mr. Mittens at this point. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the stream. I know we had a lot of furry interruptions and got actually a decent amount of animating done this time around. So if you enjoyed the video, be sure to smash that like button, comment below what you think of the project, share with friends, and all that other self-promoting jazz. So yeah, I got a pesty cat. So anyway, that's enough from me. Till next time, take it easy. Okay, Mr. Mitz, I'm on my way. We can have some playtime now. Yeah, I know.